Hello, my name is Harper, and I'm a transgender man, and I've seen a bit of talk about transition in a way that kind of glamorizes it or trivializes it a little bit, and I think that knowing not just the good, fun parts of transition, but also what the struggles are and what, the rough patches will be, is good for both trans people that are considering transitioning and non-trans people who just don't understand what it's like or have the idea that it's just this magical process that you just go in and you do the transition and you come out and it's real easy. When transitioning doesn't just you go in for a couple months and then you're like done transitioning. It is a process that takes years and thousands of dollars sometimes. So I wanted to talk about things that I've found a little rough with transition, like all aspects of transitioning, and also things that I've heard from other trans masculine people, and just kind of have a bit of a chat about things that are hard about transition. So I'm a transgender man, so I am on testosterone. I've been on testosterone for almost a year and 4 months now, and while I absolutely love the changes that has happened and it's made me so much happier, there are definitely some things that I kind of struggled with along the way. Some more rough than others, some are just like mere inconveniences. The number one thing that I absolutely did not like about starting testosterone was acne. During my first puberty, I did not have too much acne, but when I started testosterone, my skin got so oily, my forehead broke out, all of this, just like general T-zone. T-zone, it's not called that for nothing. Like, that is where I got major acne. I had a lot of acne on underneath my chin, I still do, and I had serious acne. It was uncomfortable, it was gross, it was just not nice to look at. It really kind of impacted my confidence, and it was painful sometimes. Acne is awful. And I know some other people that got serious cystic acne once they started testosterone. That stuff hurts and it blisters and it's it's not great. Another thing was mood swings. I'm naturally kind of a stable person, a kind of chill, calm person. Not calm, but my head isn't too wild. And I don't switch back and forth a lot, but on starting testosterone, it was a bit of a ride between being happy and really confident on T, and also a lot of anxiety, which is chilled out after my hormones is kind of settled down and stopped raging and I was on a consistent dose. And another thing that's kind of just a minor inconvenience was that I was very, very warm and I was very hungry. The other thing I wanted to talk about was surgery. I have not gotten any surgeries yet. I'm waiting on top surgery currently, but there are all sorts of surgeries that trans men, trans masculine people can get. There is top surgery, which is basically removing breast tissue from your chest. There is a hysterectomy, which is getting rid of reproductive stuff. You can get some bottom surgeries, including phalloplasty and metoidioplasty. You can get a vaginectomy, and all of that, particularly the bottom surgeries, are tough to recover from. In general, surgery is rough. You're having something worked on, and then they're closing you back up, and you gotta let your body heal. And not only is that rough, physically, just being so limited and being in pain and having to wait for your body to just heal after this massive trauma, but it can also be tough on you mentally. Your body has undergone massive trauma, and though it is a trauma that you specifically asked for, it still can be traumatic for some people, and post-op depression is a real thing. A lot of people suffer from post-op depression, and it's just real rough. Another aspect of that is, of course, money. There is so much money that goes into surgeries for so many people. I'm really privileged that I live here in BC, Canada, and my surgeries are all covered, completely covered by MSP, and so I don't have to fork out $5,000 to like $10,000 for top surgery, and if I want to get like a hysterectomy or bottom surgery in the future, that is also covered, fortunately. But those surgeries, I've seen some phalloplasty bills come up to like tens of thousands of dollars, even more sometimes. It's a lot of money. Like, I know personally that if I had to pay for all of my surgeries and stuff, I would definitely be choosing between going to school and living independently and transitioning. Like, I would not be able to do both. Speaking of money, there are other aspects of transition that some people don't think about, but they definitely do cost money. Your hormones, they cost money. I'm fortunate that my hormones are partially covered, so I don't have to pay, like $100 per vial. But your hormones cost money, your surgeries cost money, your doctor visits, and if you have complications or you want to fix something that wasn't quite right the first time, that is more money and more time recovering. And like legal transition, like changing your name and changing your gender marker and then changing that on all of your IDs, that costs money. And it's not something that people often talk about, I think. Like, a lot of the time people are very focused on like the physical transition, when social and legal transition is also important for mental health and just like your physical safety. Because if you're going around with a beard and your ID still has like F on it, then that's pretty obvious that you're transgender, and in some places that is like a serious health risk. And the last aspect I wanted to talk about was your relationships. When you socially transition and when you physically transition, that can cause a big rift between, some people in your family, your friends. A lot of people lose their partners because of coming out as trans. I know so many people who've been disowned by their parents. They've lost friends, and, their family is divided because part of them don't like agree with you and your choices. That can take both a emotional and psychological toll, but it can also take a financial toll, like especially if you are dependent on your parents or some of your family financially. If you still like live at home, or you're a minor, getting kicked out can have serious ramifications. And apart from that, just having people dislike you or hate you or not agree with you and not wanting to have a relationship with you anymore because of one aspect of your being that you cannot change, like it is not a choice, it's tough. Like, that's heartbreaking. And a lot of people, they feel like it's not worth it anymore. Like, what, they regret coming out, like, and they wish they had stayed in the closet. But they would have been so unhappy like that. And it's really an unfortunate choice that we have to make, whether we want to sacrifice our relationships, to live authentically and live as ourselves and be happy, or keep those relationships and keep it all bottled inside until it explodes, basically. So I hope that kind of scratched the surface a little bit of, I don't know, just the reality of transition, because I see a lot of people trivialize it. The people who hate trans people are like, oh, all these people are just getting surgeries and because they want to, and, they're just cutting off their dicks and they're pumping hormones into children, when it's like, no, like, this is something that is absolutely necessary. Like, me transitioning, that was a medical necessity. Transitioning is not easy, and it always sucks when they see people like Caitlyn Jenner who, she came out, then she disappeared, and then she reappeared like a year, couple months later as just like this like beautiful kind of cis-passing woman. She'd had like all these surgeries and she'd been on hormones and stuff. And I think a lot of people see transition like that, like you just disappear for a little bit and you just come out and it's easy breezy, but it's so hard. And I also wanted to talk about that because I want people who are considering transitioning to know the realities and to do their research and to really look inside yourself and weigh the pros and cons and weigh whether this is a medical necessity, because it's rough. It's not easy. And if you go into it thinking that it'll be just so easy and you'll just breeze through and you just come out looking like a man, it's not. You'll be very disappointed and it'll be a shock, and I don't want that on anyone. I recommend that people go check out other people's videos. There's so many people on YouTube that are documenting their transition, and just watching the raw experience of people transitioning and the honesty behind that really helped me prepare for, transitioning and knowing what it was like and knowing, whether it was worth it, whether I really, really wanted it, whether it was really, really necessary. I weighed the pros and cons, and I weighed, whether it was worth it or not, and I decided it was. So, yeah, do that. Do your research, know what's happening, and I hope everything works out. I'm going to go. Have a good day. And I hope that I have better hair next time. Bye.